just because of there is a date for it. But everybody knows that history is written from victor's perspective, right? Somebody who is victorious, okay, they will dictate what is history. Correct? Hmm? So there is some inherent assumptions in our linear understanding which we were brought to in our Western educational system, that only if there is a date, it is authentic. If there is no date, it is not authentic. So that is something which you have to be very, very careful about. Rather, in the Vedic tradition, importance is given as to who is narrating. That is more important than the date and source. If you look at the entire, any of the descriptions of history, like recently, some few days back, I was researching on particular one Mongolian tradition. Okay. So there is one woman, she is considered to be one of the very strong princess, so just generally we'll get a lot of these women empowerment related stories. This is one such woman, so some description was going around. Okay. So the modern historical narrative is all based on how much of critical data is available. Somebody arguing for and arguing against. So that will be the basis of conclusion that this particular fact should have existed. Okay? Because the entire scholarly tradition is not Aroha Pantha, it is Avaroha Pantha. Not descending order, it is ascending order. In an ascending order of acquisition of knowledge, you will not believe anybody. Okay? You will believe some that, if there are some 4-5 sources are there, and then you will contend to it. Okay? So interestingly, because this woman, she was far ahead of her time. Okay? So Marco Polo records her about her. Okay, Marco Polo, when he went to the China and the eastern countries, Marco Polo records about her. And then so many people record about her. Okay? But what the later historians who have, talked about her, this thing, they started saying that, she's someone who has acquired some supernatural powers. Okay. That's how she was able to do like this kind of a wrestling matches and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So now the current latest historians who picked up those things, they say how the later historians who are just some 50 or 100 years later, they become envious of this thing and they are not able to accommodate that idea that how a woman can be so powerful that, she was able to wrestle against so many people, and it is that, some skills are there for her. Okay, she is far ahead of her time and she is not fitting in the whole, societal norms and all of those things. And her story was, wishy was the way. Okay. But now we are talking about a transcendental histories wherein we have to challenge the entire societal understanding that, they are these bodies. Okay. Entire society is running behind the idea that they are the body, and whatever the entire world is meant for, it is for their own sense gratificatory things. Okay, and nothing else. Imagine so difficult it is, right, to make normal scholars understand these facts. Right? Normal scholars, even without history, set aside the history, using the logic and other things to make them understand and appreciate these things, it is so difficult. And then on top of it, now the scholars use it that, hey, your Puranas have no dates and hence it is not authentic. Hence it's not valid, right, today. So this is what is the challenge we are facing. But of course, now there are lots of evidences are there today about the occurrence of Mahabharat war, the dates, and even the pre-Christian era, coin systems. So many enough evidences are there to prove that the worship of Krishna as Vasudeva Bhagavan, huh, and so many artifacts are there in Mathura, Delhi, and all of those things and all, dating back to 5,000 years, dating back to 7,000 years. Okay, Dwarka, there is a submergence of Dwarka, how the oceans have swelled in 1555, sorry, 5525 BC. So many, enough evidences are there today. Okay, so, so, so why I'm bringing all of these things is that we should understand how the modern scholarly understanding has one kind of a mindset because of ascending process of acquisition of knowledge. Hmm? So next, let's read on.
We are simply concerned before that.
Yeah.
Description of narration is sometimes measured by 3 dimensions.
Ah, sorry, I think I've not talked about that. Okay, so this is something which I was reflecting 2 days back. What is Prabhupada trying to say? So of course we cannot speculate about what is Acharya is saying because Acharya's mind is Acharya. So, but still we'll try to make our humble attempt to make a philosophical speculation, not a mental speculation. What is the difference between philosophical speculation and mental speculation?
Philosophical, it is within the boundary of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra.
Hmm.
Whereas mental is mental.
Mental speculation is mental. There's no basis. There's no limits. Correct? Right? So within what Srila Prabhupada has said, we have to try to understand. Besides that, they happen on different planets, nay, in different universes, and thus the description of the narrations is sometimes measured by 3 dimensions. So who is measuring?
The author.
Go back. So the context is such historical facts being instructive for ordinary men were assorted without chronological reference. What is Prabhupada is now trying to talk about? That all these incidences and all of those things, there are scholars who are trying to measure it through some chronological way and all of those things and all. So, but whereas these are all historical facts, okay, but unfortunately, the scholars will try to measure this description of these narrations through through three-dimensional space. But whereas the universes that exist are not necessarily bound by 3 dimensions. Okay. Hence, when the acharyas are describing to those Baddhajivas like us who are bound by 3 dimensions, okay, they are only bringing in the facts that can be appreciated by us. Correct? Hmm? Like say, yesterday we were discussing one stuff in CPP's class about Maharaj Agnidra. Okay. And in the next verse about Maharaj Agnidra had 9 sons and he had named the 9 dvipas in the name of the sons. Okay. So what are the 9 dvipas? All this Ilavrita, Bharata, Ilavrita Varsha becomes Ilavrita Varsha becomes Bharata Varsha after the Bharata Maharaj rule. That's a different thing. So Ilavrita Varsha is one of the Dvipa. So there are 9 islands. Where are these 9 islands? Where are these 9 islands? So, in the understanding of the Vedic cosmology, island is not in a water. Island is in a space. Okay. Now, which space? Okay. So, when Agnidra went down to the which mountains? I think Gandhamadava mountains, I think, right? He goes down to Gandhamadava mountains and does the tapasya. Okay. So in the Gandhamadhava mountain valleys, where is Gandhamadhava mountains? As per the, I mean, if I'm right, it should be between the, Jupiter and Saturn in the asteroid belt. If my understanding of Vedic cosmology is right. So now, in which body Agnidra is doing tapasya? Normal understanding is three-dimensional space like that of us, right? Huh? So that's why, when the acharyas, they are seeing truth, but they are telling us the truth which we can appreciate. Okay, the three-dimension space. In the three-dimension space, what we can appreciate, that much only they will tell. Okay. Huh? Yeah.
So we are simply concerned with the instructive lessons of such incidences, even though they are not in order by our limited range of understanding.
So that's the thing, right? So even though it's not in our range of understanding, how a person in the fourth dimension will act, if there's somebody's in four dimensions. I don't know. For us, three dimensions, length, breadth, and height. Fourth dimension, time itself, we cannot accommodate in our understanding, right? Hmm.
Bhishmadeva described such narrations before Maharaja Yudhishthira replied with different questions.
So then we'll move on to the next verse. This next verse will set a context for the previous verse. Okay? Dharmam pravadatastasya sakala pratyupasthitah yo yoginas chandamrityor vanchitas tutarayana. While Bhishmadeva was describing occupational duties, the sun's course ran into the northern hemisphere. This period is desired by the mystics who die at their will. Okay. So now you see, we will read the purport. Purport diverts us towards to something else, which is for the next verse. While we'll come to that, we'll just go back to the previous verse and see what is the context. The context is the word used by Prabhupada is Tattvavit. Bhishma Deva is a Tattvavit, one who knows the truth. Hmm? And what is he speaking? He's speaking about Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Okay. If somebody comes and asks you, okay, Prabhuji, my son is like this, or my daughter is like this. She want to become some, maybe Air Force pilot, but she's like this. She cannot do that. What do I do, Prabhuji? Okay. So then we will start giving our Atatvavit.
No background.
Huh?
With no background.
With no background. We'll start giving reason and logic. Yeah? And our reason and logic, when all this discussion is happening, suddenly sun has moved into northern hemisphere. क्या हो गया यार छोड़ो. A time has come for the yogis who want to desire to leave this body. See, this is the context where Bhishmadeva, who is a Tattvavit, he was describing the occupational duties, Artha, Kama, Moksha, okay, by reciting various historical narrations. Okay. So he is bringing so many histories. See, when we also speak out of our experience, right? Or citing some others' experiences. We cite and then we speak. But when we speak, we have one important thing which is missing. What is that? Truth. What is truth? And hence, the way we direct and the way a pure devotee directs is different. A pure devotee also sees things, material things, like the way we also see. But when he sees material things, he sees it with intent of what Krishna, how that particular thing is linked with Krishna, and how that particular thing can get connected with Krishna. But whereas we, because of our naturally we are materially linked. Huh? Like Prahlad Maharaj thinks, how these materialists are thinking materially, like that he will think. Because naturally he is Krishna conscious. Okay. Hmm? So, so, so coming back, so Bhishma Deva, that is the greatness of Bhishma Deva. What is the greatness of the Bhishma Deva? Huh? Even though he is lying on a deathbed, even though he is in such a painful circumstances where every part of his body is already pierced by arrows and he is, such a painful circumstance he is in, right? Still, he is describing occupational duties of different orders and statuses of life, citing instances from history, because he was very, very acquainted with the truth. You know, he didn't say that, hey, I'm in such a painful situation. Your Krishna only has put me into all this faith, all this pain. Huh? He was not, what you call having any that kind of a lack of faith, but rather he is full of faith and aware of the truth, and he is situated in the truth, even though there are so much of painful circumstances are there, right? And because he was situated in that way, he was undisturbed, even though he was dealing with matter. Because we are not constituted in that state of truth, when somebody comes with a material problem, we get deviated into Maya, into material way of solving it. If we are situated in truth, we will be able to give them right direction. Wherein from material perplexities, we can give them the thing. Oh, see, Mataji or Prabhuji, when you're dealing with your daughter, you have to first of all understand that there is something called as guna. Truth, no? It's a truth, no? Swabhava, huh? Guna, Swabhava, Prakriti, Karma. These elements are there. We also have a solution to material problems through Gita way. Now we will give solution from that perspective and then tell, see, no, you study this. It's not that there is no solution. It's not that it is, all this guna and all of prakriti and all is studied by even Ayurvedic physicians through Dram Nadi today. Right? So these are all facts are there. So how we can do all of those things? Only if we have thorough, proper understanding. Jai Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maya Kichaya all the time. Right? So with that conviction, we'll be able to speak. So we see here, even though Bhishmadeva was apparently dealing with all the material subjects, he is so situated that as soon as the sun moved into the Uttarayana, okay, Bhishmadeva was describing the occupational duty, the sun's course ran into the northern hemisphere. This period is desired by mystics who died at their will. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Yes, somebody can help me read this purport. Now we'll move on to the next segment of what Prabhupada is trying to build up. Hmm.
Perfect yogis or mystics can leave the material body at their own sweet will at a suitable time and go to a suitable planet desired by them. In the Bhagavad Gita, at point 14, it is said that self-realized souls who have exactly identified themselves with the interest of the Supreme Lord can generally leave the material body during the time of the fire god's effulgence, and when the sun is in the northern horizon and thus achieve the transcendental sky.
Very nice statement, huh? It was such a beautiful statement which Prabhupada has given about 8.14. It has really surprised me. We'll go to 8.14. Okay.
Prabhu, my this thing it says 8.24.
Sorry?
The verse quoted in my this thing, Bhagavatam canto says 8.24.
Acha. But it's actually 8.14 only, Mataji.
ऊपर है second number.
I'm going to early editions. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, I think. Not 18.14, 24 only, I think. 8.24. 8.24. Okay. Agnir Jyotir Ahas Shukla Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Paraprayata Kachanti Brahma Brahma Vidojana. The word used is Brahma Brahma Vido Jana. One who knows the absolute. What is now knowing absolute? Go back to this purport and see. It is said that the self realized souls who have exactly identified themselves means you changed your false ego to true ego of what? With the interest of the Supreme Lord. Okay? That's what Bhishmadeva was doing. All these material things, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and all of those things, what was he doing? He was identifying himself with the interest of the Supreme Lord in that material things. So generally what we have an understanding, we have one type of understanding. What is that? What is there in office? That time is material things. Okay? In the morning when I do japa or in the evening when I do japa, when I do reading my books, that is Krishna consciousness. But is that the way it is expected from us? No. In all circumstances, we have to make efforts to make things Krishna conscious. Means what? Connect from interest of the Supreme Lord. Now, what is interest of Supreme Lord? You have to read books. You have to read Bhagavad Gita. You see how others are working and how you are working. Are you working from the way Gita point of view? You know, we have to have a very active brain when we are working in our offices. Not some shutdown office and shutdown mindset. ये तो क्या काम क्या करना है? No. Then you're not observing yourself. You're not observing yourself. You're not improving yourself. Right? We have to observe ourselves and improve ourselves. We have to constantly observe, be an observer. See now that is one thing. With the interest of the Supreme Lord, can generally leave the material body during the time of fire god's effulgence and when the sun in the northern horizon and thus achieve the transcendental material sky. So it is an and statement. Just sometimes people get confused. Okay, this statement which is there in 8.24 uh, is what they'll get confused as or statement. So somebody who is passing away during the influence of fiery god or in the light at an auspicious moment or during the fortnight of the moon and the 6 months when the sun travels in the north knows that it is not or statement, it is and statement. First, who knows the supreme Brahman?
So first qualification.
हाँ, वो उसमें चला जाएगा 99%. Because we'll say no, Prabhu, even when animal also dies in the when in the morning during the Uttarayana, they also will go back to God. No, sir, first statement is there, Brahma Brahma Vido Jana. Right, so these are all and statements. These are all not or statements. Okay, in the Vedas, continue reading.
In the Vedas, these times are considered auspicious for getting the body, and they are taken advantage of by expert mystics who have perfected the system. Perfection of yoga means attainment of such supermental states as to be able to leave the material body as desired. They can also reach any planet within no time without a material vehicle. The yogis can reach the highest planetary system within a short time. And this is impossible for materialists.
Okay, so what is Prabhupada is saying? What is the super mental state a yogi should achieve? Wherein he will be able to quit his body at the time he desires and to a location he desires. That is the perfection of yoga. Quitting the body means not like committing suicide. There is a method. in which how yogis, how they leave the planet, they leave their bodies, So first they hold the energy from they say Kundalini yoga and all of this, they say, right? From the Kundalini, once they awaken the Kundalini, then it will go from there are 6 chakras are there. Hmm? They will go gradually, they will move that Kundalini energy to the Anahata Kshetra, that is here, heart. And from there, they'll move it to the higher, the chakras. Then there is Sahasrara. Okay. From the Sahasrara, they will go. So what happens is when a person leaves the body like that, actually the skull first gets split up. And then they leave the body like that. That is the way the yogis, leave this thing. You know. It's not committing suicide is equal to yoga, leaving a body at one's own this thing, So please understand, in this world, there is a highly sattvic way of doing things and highly tamasic way of doing things, and apparently both look same outside externally. Why?
Because of.
It seems inaction, but in the other case, there is action within.
In Tamoguna also apparently there is no action. In highly sattvic people also apparently there is no action. Because action is about Rajoguna. Okay. Active material actions is about Rajoguna. Okay. Sattvic people also, a Brahmana is supposed to be just doing only tapasya, right? Right? So what is he doing? He's not doing any work. Right? So he's also living at his own will. Okay. A tamasic fellow is also living at his own will. But he's stuck in the ghostly body. Tamasic fellow. But as a sattvic person, highly sattvic person who's living at his own will, okay, he's not stuck in the world. He may go to some other different planet where whichever he's wishing. So we should be very, very careful. Just no, we should not get deluded by externals. Tamoguna and Satoguna seems to be apparently same. No, there is a gulf of difference. Yeah, yeah. This one only, right? Sorry.
Even
Even attempting, even attempting,
Even attempting to reach the higher planets will take millions of years at a speed of millions of miles per hour.
Hmm.
This is a different science, and Bhishmadeva know well how to utilize it. He was just waiting for the suitable moment to quit his material body, and the golden opportunity arrived when he was instructed.
When he was instructing his noble grandsons. Continue.
He thus prepared himself to quit his body before the exalted Lord Sri Krishna, the pious Pandavas, and the great sages headed by Bhagavan Vyasa, etc., all great souls.
So what did Bhishmadeva do? He got such a wonderful opportunity to leave a body at his own will, and he's aware of that science of where to go, whatever he wants, he wishes to do. And he is doing this in the presence of great pure devotee grandsons, the Pandavas, and Lord Sri Krishna himself, and various great sages like Vyasadeva were all present. तदोपसंहृत्य गिरा सहस्राणिर्विमुक्तसङ्गं मन आदिपुरुषे कृष्णे लसत्पीतपाटे चतुर्भुजे पुरस्थिते मिलितादृग्व्याधरयात् Vidarayat. Okay, very nice word use this for Bhishmadeva is Sahasrani, an expert who can speak in thousands of different science and arts. Okay, so thereupon, that man who spoke on different subjects with thousands of meanings and who fought on thousands of battlefields and protected thousands of men stopped speaking, and being completely freed from all bondage, withdrew his mind from everything else and fixed his wide open eyes upon the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, who stood before him, four-handed, dressed in yellow garments that glittered and shined. So he withdrew his mind from all the material things now. He realized that now time has come for him to leave this world. So at that time, Krishna also showed his extra two hands so that Bhishmadeva can focus on that, which is his actual probably the position. So somebody from online can read.
Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yeah.
In the momentous hour of leaving this material body, the glorious example set by Bhishma Deva is the important function of the human form of life. The subject matter which attracts the dying man becomes the beginning of his next life. If therefore one is absorbed in the thoughts of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, he is sure to go back to Godhead without any doubt.
So,
This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita.
so we'll come to the Bhagavad Gita translations. Now it all will be translations of Bhagavad Gita, which is also interesting. We'll look into that. So here, what Prabhupada is doing, when what Bhishmadeva is doing, which is an important example, he was indeed talking about preaching in an indirect manner, how to make different people come towards Krishna in a slow manner and all of those things and all. So, but when the actual time of his death is coming in, what Bhishma Deva has done is very, very important, which we will see in the next few verses. He starts directly glorifying the pastimes of of Krishna. Krishna with his Pandavas, Krishna with his gopis, Krishna with Radharani, all those things he'll start doing it wonderfully. Okay? So it mean what does it mean? The subject matter which attracts the dying man becomes the beginning of his next life. That's a simple principle. Huh? So Bhishma Deva, he wants to stay focused on his own journey now. Right? If therefore one is absorbed in thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, he is sure to go back to Godhead without any doubt. So now let's read the translations carefully. Okay? This is how Prabhupada has translated even before he translated the Bhagavad Gita, correct? Historically, when did this Prabhupada has translated this? This was translated by Prabhupada in 1960.
He carried it with.
Yes, this is 1963 version of the same Bhagavad Gita translations. Okay, so let's read on. Somebody from online? Anybody else?
Can I read too?
Yeah.
And whoever at the time of death quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
So the word used is me alone. That is, Krishna is very, very specific, saying that only if you think about Krishna, if you think about some other Devata, Lord Shiva or anything, no. You have to think only Krishna. Next.
Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt.
So important is thinking about Krishna, Krishna's principles while you are working. It is going to help us. This practice is going to help us when we are leaving the body. We cannot have, a disconnected view of the world. The word used is by Krishna is therefore. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna. And at the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With the activities dedicated to Krishna and your mind and intelligence fixed on Krishna, you will attain Krishna without doubt. So practically we see, right, we are there, maximum part of our life in the office, right? Hmm. Somebody had sent, Shivat Prabhu has sent one that Instagram video. Huh? Somebody is having some point of view, at age 38, what is happening? That Instagram video. Uh, so in that woman is saying that her parents have become her kids. Her kids have become her parents. Huh? Huh? And her boss has become her partner, and her partner has become co-worker. Messed up way of life. Okay. So anyway, so how to come out of the mess? Simple. Think about Krishna, surrender unto him, dedicate your intelligence and mind unto him, and become fixed up on Krishna. Simple. And then you will attain Krishna without any doubt. And what is this prescribed duty? Actually, our prescribed duty is not fighting every day. Huh? Because when you fight, no, in anger, you will not think only. But Kshatriyas are so trained, even in fighting, they'll think properly. Okay. So in our way, in one way, our duty is very, very simple, right? As compared to that of Arjuna, right? Very, very costly, right? Arjuna has to focus on that fellow to kill that fellow. Huh? Somebody, how to kill him, he has to plan. Huh? Not like a terrorist, right? He has to plan that thing and then also focus on Krishna, right? Hmm. What does a terrorist do? Say they think no, their idea is why they want to go back to heaven, because if you die like that, you will get seven or 12 wives, something like that is there. 72. I don't know. Wow. See, what is their motivations, unfortunately. Hmm. Next.
He who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, Arjuna, is sure to reach me.
Hmm. Yes. Next, very, very important. How you should remember Krishna?
One
Right,
should,
Prakar?
med-
Hmm.
one should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and being transcendental, he is beyond this material nature.
Actually, such an important verse. Once Maharaj was talking about this verse is very, very important. You when I'm doing some material things, how I can be transcendentally focused on Krishna like this. I'm doing some material work. I'm thinking I am the controller of that work. No, Krishna is the controller of the work. Krishna is present in every anu, and he is the one who is actually maintaining everything. And he is beyond the material conception. Like that, we have to have a constant meditation. Not easy. It's easy for me to give lecture also. For me also difficult. It is reality. When we understand that this is a reality, then we have to start working towards bridging the gap. Right? Hmm? Sarvasya dataram. So that very beautiful verse actually. This is 8.9 verse. Manoraniya anusmaret yaha sarvasya dataram aditya varnam tamasa parastat. So one who at the time of death fixes his life air between the eyebrows and in full devotion engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Persons learned in the Vedas who utter Omkara, who are great sages in the renounced order of enter into the Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses, and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. one establishes himself in yoga. अरे प्रभु जी हमको ये योगा तो सिखा, nobody is teaching us, don't worry. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the supreme personality of God and quits his body, he will certainly reach the reach the spiritual planets. For one who remembers me without deviation. So this is previous, that the 13th one is not our exactly our process. There are other processes, right? Which are also having some elements of devotion, right? Our process is this: for one who remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pratha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. Hmm? After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Sri Bhishmadeva attained the perfection of fitting his body at will and was fortunate enough to have Lord Krishna, the object of his attention, personally present at the time of death. He therefore fixed his open eyes upon him. He was wide open, he was fully wide open, he's seeing Krishna with his heart content. He wanted to see Krishna for a long time out of his spontaneous love for him. Because he was a pure devotee, he had very little to do with the detailed performances of yogic principles. So, we are not worried about the yogic principles, because where is Bhishma Deva? He was on a bed of arrows. Okay. Yogic thing was that, you have to wash yourself, you have to become pure, you have to achaman, you have to do pranayama. Where is all this possible for Bhishma Deva? Hmm? Because he was a pure devotee, he had very little to do with the detailed performance of yoga principles. Simple bhakti yoga is enough to bring about perfection. Therefore, the ardent desire of Bhishmadeva was to see the person of Lord Krishna, the most lovable object, and by the grace of the Lord, Sri Bhishmadeva had this opportunity at the last stage of his breathing. We'll end here if anybody has any questions.
So Bhishmadeva, he is able to kind of, the moment that he sees the time has come, he's able to abruptly drop everything else and then shift his attention. So that's the thing about a devotee, that he can abruptly, leave everything and then shift his focus only on the Supreme. That's what is happening here.
Correct. Why he is able to do that? Because even when he is doing material things, he is doing the material things from transcendental point of view. When the Pandavas were small kids, or Pandavas were not even born, okay, Krishna was not even present at that time. Bhishma Deva was holding the entire kingdom. Sometime back I studied one aspect of Bhishma Deva. He was quite chivalrous. Okay, he was holding the entire world. When Gautam Rishi was killed by some tribals in Andhra. Okay, they were called as Andhras. They were all tribals at that time. So how Bhishma Deva goes and chastises them and all of those things and all were there. So when he's doing all this chastisement and all of those things and all, he was doing. So because he's doing everything constantly with Krishna conscious, at a circumstance he is able to drop everything, become focused on his journey.
There's only an activity he's dropping, his consciousness.
Yeah.
So it's easy for him to drop the activity.
Yeah, it's easy for him to drop because he's not attached. He's doing it only as a matter of duty on behalf of Krishna, that's all. Now Krishna has ordered me to go back to Godhead. Now it's the time for a different journey. Okay, fine. Krishna, now you're telling me this is my journey, I'm doing this journey, that's all. Because they are surrendered way of doing these things. Very difficult to understand, how you be chivalrous and fighting and all of those things and finally and simultaneously have an emotion of surrender. Correct, no? We all have seen our own psychology, right? When you attack, when you fight with somebody and all, when you argue, okay, debate, we are not in the consciousness of surrender. Consciousness of false ego. Huh?
So ego which are, we are right, we know this much and we are trying to guide you.
Correct?
So Prabhu, when you see all great devotees that we have
Yeah.
in our scriptures anywhere, we see that for every one of them there was some let's say a person who oriented him or her in that way from beginning, correct? If you see, look at the life of Bhishmadev, he only got Krishna at his later stage of his time before Kurukshetra, okay? And all great things about him.
Who is Bhishmadeva's guru? You have to ask question.
No, my question
He's
is
Jamadagni.
no, not like okay. So Bhishmadev, because by birth he was special, right? He was one of the Ashtavashus. He was the son of Ganga, and obviously I think he was a disciple of Parshurama, right?
Correct, Jamadagni.
Just because he had such blessed soul, I
Hmm.
mean, all these things are pretty much very possible for him. But for Aam Aadmi like us, we are basically like, I mean, we can relate to this kind of thing. He was the greatest soul, right? Because of his birth, because of all these things. How it is relevant for us?
So what we can do is, I'm not able to, catch that grapes which is on top. So grapes must be sour. Is another philosophy. What is the philosophy is that I'm not able to reach. So the grapes are not sweet, it is sour. And be happy and then go away. But what Krishna is saying is, in your circumstance, make your 1% advancement. Move in that direction. You see that some taste coming in. So with that taste, again you try. Taste will come, try. Taste will come, try. Taste will come, try. That's what Narada also has done in his previous life. As a small boy. What was he doing? He was serving the great Bhagavatas.
So that coming to the first mistake that
No, because you gave an example. Bhishmadev is such a great soul here. He's something I cannot copy. Forget him. I'm giving another example to you. Okay? A small kid, like Narada in his previous life, what did he do? He just served some great Vaishnavas for 4 months only. They left. After a few days, his mother passed away because of a serpent biting. Then he realized he didn't know what to do. His only source of guidance was his mother, and his mother passed away. Then he remembered whatever the sages have told. That okay, now you go to the forest in search of God. Nothing else he knows. He is going into the forest, going. Okay, he was deeply, for focusing on meditating on Krishna. Suddenly he got one glimpse of God. He became mad after that glimpse, and then immediately Lord disappeared. Okay, so means a taste has come. A taste has come, and with that taste he was running. Where is Lord? Where is Lord? Where is Lord? So now that's a principle now. Now what is the principle? How do I apply in my life? I have to wait for God to come, then only I'll gain taste. No. Lord will imperceptibly come in your life, protecting you, maintaining you, and all of those things. When those things are happening, see that and hold on to that taste. Reminisce that taste and further work on further. So that's how you will increase your faith that you are not the doer, Krishna is a doer. You will have the faith that Krishna is actually a personality where you can relate with. So that's why we have to actively
and
do.
how Bhishmadev now comes up, you're saying how Bhishmadev becomes so perfect because who was his guru, or he is a trainer or his parent, or because he is blessed soul.
That is not really relevant matter fact for us because he's a pure devotee any which way.
Because if you see, that's why he's the disciple of Parshurama, right?
Correct, Parshurama.
So maybe it's because he has been through with so many blessed souls training him. That's the reason he becomes.
Correct. So we are also having such a great blessed soul like Prabhupada who is training us. But are we ready?
No, but because he was also a son of Ganga, and obviously a blessed soul means one of the Ashtavashus, right? Maybe that's why he is a different category altogether.
Correct. But then I gave an example of Narada to you, right? Why are you not hearing that example?
But he qualified, isn't it, Prabhu, to become that? It's not like we are seeing only this chronological order of one lifetime. But for him to get the attention of so many others, you have to become eligible.
No. I'm saying like this. Let us take the example of Narada. Let's take the example of that Mrugari, who is a hunter in the forest, who was killing left, right, center. Okay. And Narada came and spoke to him. He became very serious. He was worried, oh, what will happen to my future life? I've done so much of papa. I'll suffer so much. Now tell me what I should do. That was his inquisitiveness and immediately became serious. Then Narada gave him instructions. One lifetime, Katham. He went back to God. Yes, exactly. Who was sitting in that class? CPP's class or Vasi Prabhu's class? No, Vasi Prabhu's class 2 days back. So there was Prabhupada was getting into a car and he's about to leave. Suddenly, one disciple comes running to ask a question. You know, what was the question?
All it takes to get Krishna manifest, right?
No. How I become successful in this very life? Only one word Prabhupada has said. What is that word? Desire. And he shut the door, he went. Because for him, that one word is the answer. So we have to question ourselves. How strongly we are desiring to set away the material things and accept the spiritual things and all of those things.
Multi-direction desires also there.
Hmm?
All directions. Desires are there in all directions.
Desires are there in all directions because soul is in that way is multidimensional. Right?
If I personally, I can't speak for everyone, I personally actually question my conviction and desire. I'm quite happy with my warm bed and quite happy with all the sense gratification that I get from whatever things, little things. So that means still so much body attachment is there that I'm not willing to
Correct.
detach myself, not give up, but detach myself.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Small belief.
So all of these things, uh, uh,
Temporary place means not.
all of these things should lead us to become more and more humble.
But humble का क्या करें? आगे progress तो नहीं हो रहा है ना?
Huh?
Humility का क्या करें?
No, humble means by humble that I am such a fool, I am not moving forward. So after knowing that I am a fool, what I should do? As Prabhupada says, no? Prabhupada, I'm fallen down. So what, yaar, get up, no. Stand up. I'm so fallen. So get up, stand. Like that. Yeah. It is easy to, cut a joke, I understand.
You talked about action in Krishna consciousness also, right? I told that. So, what is that action in Krishna consciousness? Is it that he is the person who's enabling me to act? What do we mean? Because there is action and there is a result also. So far, what I know is that, okay, whenever results come, the results are coming because the Lord has blessed, and hence the result is coming. But what is action in Krishna consciousness?
So action in Krishna consciousness is a very, 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 very deep subject. Okay. So few dimensions also only probably I can pick up. So action in Krishna consciousness, it could be as simple as thinking about Krishna when you're doing the action, but naturally we don't have that much of bhakti. Okay. So then when actions and the results are coming, so one way of looking at it is as the blessings of the Lord, owing to which I got this. Another thing is, what is motivating my further action? When I'm acting, a result has come. The result is motivating me to do further action, or result is demotivating me from doing further action. So it means what? I am fruitive or not. That motivation shouldn't be not because of the fruitive nature of my mindset. The motivation should be because of what is my prescribed duty at that time. So if I am failure, what I will do? I will give up. No. If I am successful, I will get attached. No. Right? So like that, everything, there are a lot of things. So basically, our chakshusha should become Shastra chakshusha. Our seeing of the world, our seeing of actions, our seeing of everything. So it cannot come without reading Prabhupada books. Prabhupada, we should read Prabhupada books, constantly see that Prabhupada is guiding me. Sometimes, we don't know, we are trying to solve a problem, open a random page of Prabhupada's book, you'll find a solution. Hmm? So he is personally directing and all of those things. Basically, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi.
So is it Karma Yoga chapter that
No, not only that I'm saying.
no, from an action standpoint?
No, from action standpoint, it is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi I'm saying. What is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi? What my spiritual master wanted me to do. No.
Hmm.
You told me to jump from the fourth floor, I'll jump. You understand? Like that. So any other questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
Prabhu, of course, we discussed about, let's say, we having a dual view, which is a spiritual view and a material view. Whereas a pure devotee, for him, there's only one view, whether it's a material energy or spiritual energy, it's all Lord's energy, and hence he sees everything as Lord, Lord's actions, Lord's direction, Lord's control. So I think one way of we trying to see that is how we can in the day-to-day activity, how do you actually implement that? In terms of viewing, as you said, instead of looking at when you do chanting, that's a spiritual activity. The other is when you, let's say, work in the office, you instead of looking at this as a material activity, how you can try and link it up to Krishna. And having, things like even Krishna's picture on the thing, you keep constantly reminding yourself of Krishna. Do you think that kind of approach would be helpful?
Yeah, chanting of the holy names, remembrance, all of, whether Shravana, Kirtana, Smaranam, and all of these processes of Bhakti Yoga will definitely help us. Okay. Hmm? And another thing is the process of Pratyahara, means the process of detachment means what? How to see differently from the scriptural point of view rather than the way default way of I'm seeing things. Right? So because we are all, what you call educated, right? Since we are educated and we know how to use our intelligence, now we should also know how to use our intelligence Krishna conscious way. Say today there is some very a simple person is there whose service is just to bring some water pot from Ganga to say Radha Govinda. I mean even at Radha Govinda. Do you think that person has to go through this entire intellectual exercise? Not required. Because we are having that karma of having good intelligence. So now we have to deal with it now. So for us it is more difficult than somebody who's simple minded, right?
Yes.
Right, like that. So we should basically train the intelligence to become Shastric intelligence. So we'll stop now here. गिरिंद्रा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय हो, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय हो, निठाय गौर प्रेमानंद।